In national hunt racing, true champions are incredibly rare. Injuries, tough conditions, longer distances, something usually gets in the way of the perfect result. But for a remarkable stretch of time, Shishkin looked completely untouchable. Trained by Nicky Henderson and owned by the Donnelly family, the owners behind some of racing's greatest stars, expectations were always high. But even then, few could have predicted what was about to happen. Early days, raw talent, Shishkin was bred in Ireland, a country known for producing some of the toughest and most athletic jumpers in the world. After a strong win in an amateur point-to-point, he was bought by the Donnellys for £170,000. When he arrived in Britain, it didn't take long for his raw ability to shine through. On debut, he won with ease. But first time over hurdles, disaster struck. He fell. Was he just hype? Next time out, he made no mistake, winning a novice hurdle before stepping into listed company in the Sidney Banks Memorial. Each race brought tougher competition, but the result stayed the same: smoother jumping, devastating acceleration, and a calmness under pressure that trainers dream of. But doubts still lingered. Yes, he had an engine, but would his jumping hold up at the home of jump racing? Cheltenham, Supreme Novices Hurdle. Cheltenham Festival is where reputations are made and destroyed. It's louder, faster, and more unforgiving than anywhere else. In the Supreme Novices Hurdle, Shishkin faced the very best of his generation, including his owner's first string, Asterion Forlong. Along with Abacadabras, Chantry House, Fiddler on the Roof, Captain Guinness, and Edward Stone. The pace was brutal. The field stretched, mistakes were made. But Shishkin waited. He stalked the leaders, and then, turning for home, he exploded. In a matter of strides, he went from travelling comfortably to powering clear.
This is the last flight. Abacadabras and Davy Russell still sitting pretty.
But one rival stayed with him, and in that moment, Shishkin showed more than just class and speed. He showed heart. It was breathtaking, not just a win, a statement.
From Chantry House, Abacadabras into pressure the closing stages. Shishkin being lifted on the far side by Nicola Boyville. It's very tight between them.
Shishkin was no longer a prospect. He was the real deal. Novice chasing, new discipline, same result. After conquering hurdles, Shishkin was sent novice chasing, a discipline that exposes even the best horses, bigger fences, faster races. No room for error. Yet again, he adapted instantly. One chase after another, victory followed victory, each jump crisp, each finish stronger than the last. But another force was rising too. The Willie Mullins-trained Energumene, a relentless front-running machine, until injury ruled him out of Cheltenham. Rivals tried to take Shishkin on from the front. They blew up. Others waited to outsprint him late. They were left for dead. Even in the cauldron of Cheltenham, he won the Arkle Novices Chase in a common canter. By now, comparisons were being made with some of the greatest 2-mile chasers in history. The hype wasn't slowing down. It was getting louder. Open company. The rivalry ignites next, came the step into open company. Time to take on the very best chasers in training. His first test came in the Desert Orchid Chase at Kempton. His main rival, Sandown specialist and Tingle Creek hero, Grenadine. But with dominance came expectation, and with expectation, pressure. Every race became less about whether he would win, and more about how easily. Then came the matchup everyone had been waiting for. Shishkin versus Energumene. Tactics were built around beating him. This was personal. What followed was legendary. One of the greatest 2-mile chases ever run. Energumene went hard from the front. Shishkin stalked, jump after jump, challenge after challenge. And when it mattered most, it was Shishkin who found more. He hit the line in front. Surely now the Queen Mother Champion chase was his for the taking. But racing always has other plans. Cheltenham heartbreak. In the highly anticipated rematch, something went wrong. Mistakes crept in. His rhythm disappeared, and on heavy ground he never travelled. For the first time in his career, aside from that early hurdle fall, Shishkin was beaten. The reaction was instant. Was it a bad day? Did the ground blunt his speed? Was the magic fading? For a horse who had spent his career destroying rivals, this defeat hit harder than anyone expected. But champions aren't defined by perfection. They're defined by what happens next. Reinvention. A new Shishkin. Shishkin never quite looked the same, but he didn't fade quietly either. He returned, still competitive, but beaten again at Sandown. After wind surgery, a new plan was made. Step up in trip. Over 2.5 miles in the Ascot Chase, he produced a stunning performance to win another Grade 1. Up in distance, he was back. Now his story wasn't just about dominance, it was about resilience. Another shot at Cheltenham, this time in the Ryanair Chase, but one costly mistake at the third last ended his dream of festival redemption. Then at Aintree, over 3 miles, he returned to the winner's enclosure. Proof that the fire still burned. Now a 9-year-old, it felt like time was running out. A strange refusal at Ascot raised more questions. Then came the King George, and one final shot at greatness. He settled beautifully, travelled strongly, and just as Nico de Boinville asked him to challenge, 2 fences from home, he jumped, landed, and stumbled. Nico had no chance. A final win at Newbury followed, but it felt more like a warm-up than redemption. He was being aimed at the ultimate prize, the Cheltenham Gold Cup. But fate intervened again. A stable virus forced Nicky Henderson to withdraw all his runners. Shishkin never got his chance. His final race came at Aintree, where he finished 4th. And with that, his remarkable career came to an end. Legacy. Not every champion gets a fairy tale ending, but very few ever reach the heights that Shishkin did. Unbeaten runs, festival glory, iconic rivalries, a name that will always be mentioned when people talk about the great modern jumpers. Years from now, when fans look back on this era of national hunt racing, Shishkin will be impossible to ignore. Not just because of how much he won, but because of how he won. The turn of foot, the effortless jumping, the calm dominance in the biggest moments. For a time he made elite racing look easy, and very few horses can ever claim that. So where does Shishkin rank among Nicky Henderson's great 2-mile chasers? Was he the best of his generation? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoy deep dive stories into legendary horses and unforgettable races, make sure you subscribe to Horse Racing Stories, because every week we bring you the moments that shaped the sport. Next time, we'll be looking at another incredible career filled with glory, heartbreak, and redemption. Until then, I'll see you in the next story.